Recently, the Palm Springs Kiwanis Club had another great speaker. Let's listen in.
Well, thank you, and I really appreciate being here, and I hope you, after I finish, you'll decide that you're going to invite me back a few times to come back. I'm going to talk just on a few different things that are going on in our city, but I have more fun answering questions than I have in making speeches, so anytime you want to interrupt me and raise a question, you feel very comfortable doing so, and I will open up time at the end for questions. But a few things that are happening in our city, and one that I just want to start with because I had so much fun last Friday. I got to be principal for the day at Catherine Finchie Elementary School. Have any of you had a chance to be principal for the day at any of the schools? It is a neat thing that our school district does. They take a day and get about 25 elected and business leaders from around the Palm Springs, Cathedral City, Rancho Mirage, Desert Hot Springs area, and each one of them spends the morning at a local school. I got Catherine Finchie, and I came away so impressed with our kids, with the teachers, and particularly with the principal that was there. And there's a story that I'm going to be telling over and over again. Arlen Anderson, who is going to be retiring next year as principal at Catherine Finchie, but during the course of the day, and there are about 630 students at Catherine Finchie, he knew most of them by their first name. And he would walk up and say hello to them. But then he did something that I was so impressed with. These are kids that are kindergarten through 5th grade. They're shy. And a lot of them will turn their head and they'll kind of step away when an adult comes up to them. And every time they would do that, he would reach out his hand and hold it there until that student took his hand. And then he would wait, and he would just wait, because they knew what they had to do until they looked him directly in the eye and shook his hand and said, "Hello, I'm Bob, I'm Susan, I'm Mary." Those children are learning at 7 and 8 years old to look somebody in the eye and say hello, and they will remember that the rest of their lives. And it will make such a difference. Now, they've got a whole lot of other things they have to learn as well. But if you get a chance to spend a little time on the campuses of our schools, you're going to see something different about our kids and their teachers and their principals than you will hear watching television and all of the news about what they have to say and don't say about what's going on in our education department. So I just encourage you, spend some time with a student and with a teacher, and I bet you there will be a lot of opinions that will start to shift in terms of what's really going on with the kids of today. All of you have been very involved in civic activities, so if you live here in Palm Springs, I want to let you know that we're beginning the process we go through every year of recruiting people for our boards and commissions. Those will be making appointments that will be effective July 1st. If you're interested in being on the Board of Trustees for the library, the Planning Commission, the Public Arts Commission, the Parks and Recreation Commission, and I could go through a whole long list of others. The announcements of those are on our website under boards and commissions, and I really encourage people to apply. We want to see people from our community getting involved in the community, and it is a great opportunity to serve. And if you want to talk specifically about any particular commission and your interest, I am happy to talk with you one-on-one, and I will have cards, and I will stick around for a few minutes after the meeting to speak with you. A big issue that will be coming up that will be getting a tremendous amount of attention is on June 5th. There will be an election here in Palm Springs. This will be a part of the statewide election, but in our city, we will be voting on an initiative that will effectively ban vacation rentals in our town. Let me give you some background. This initiative is on the ballot because a group of citizens that are absolutely opposed to vacation rentals collected enough signatures to put it on the ballot. So the vote has to go forward. We wanted that vote to be done as quickly as we can in the course of a regular election.
How do you feel about that?
I'm going to put my cards right on the table. I'm going to be voting no on that initiative, and I'll tell you a few of the reasons why I'm going to vote no. It will be, if it's passed, an initiative that will ban vacation rentals in all R1 zones. And currently in Palm Springs right now we have about 1,950 registered vacation rentals. This will make approximately 1,700 of them illegal in 2 years. There will be 2 years that people will have to wind down those businesses. There are currently about 450 homes that are available for sale in R1 zones in Palm Springs. You're going to have 1,700 homes that are being used as a vacation rental right now. How many of those homes are going to end up going back into the real estate market sometime within 24 months is anyone's guess. But the Realtors Association is estimating that it will probably be something close to a third of those homes. So you're now talking 500-600 homes. We will double inventory of available homes. You do not need to be a real estate expert to know that is going to put a great burden on property values. Will the market drop in terms of value? I don't know. But it certainly will cease to have the increase that it has had. And Palm Springs is the only city in the Coachella Valley where real estate values are back to where they were before the recession 10 years ago. Most other valley cities are running still at about 20% below what their peak values were. And I think you are looking at the potential of Palm Springs values dropping. We have, thanks to the city council that was right before me, passed major changes in vacation rental ordinance. We have a 9-person staff that is managing them and really getting out to go after the bad acts. I personally have done research on vacation rentals, and 75% of them have never had a complaint. Of the 1/4 that tend to have the complaints, it's about a third of those that are responsible for almost half of the problems that we have in the city. And that is one of the things the city did not do well over the last decade and is now starting to get its act together, and that's cleaning up those really problematic properties. So, and I could go on for the next hour, so I won't on vacation rentals, but I'm happy to talk with you. The last thing, though, that I will say is if this is defeated, we are not going to go back to a Wild West where there is no enforcement. We are going to make this ordinance work, and we are going to keep the noise down. And this ordinance, as it exists now, does not allow anyone going forward to have more than one property. So we are really getting the investors out of this market. And I think City Council has been doing its job, and I hope the voters allow us to continue to do our job on this issue. Something that to change subjects, we did just recently that I know is not popular with many individuals, but I want to explain why we did it. And that was the decision to cease the operation of the Buzz effective July 1st. And the buzz was a wonderful experiment in our town. It was costing us approximately $1 million a year to operate those buses. They were free. The little buses, they had a route that went essentially from the Saguaro Hotel up East Palm Canyon, then up Palm Canyon and Indian Canyon to the Riviera Hotel, and then back around. In the first year it operated, we had 240,000 riders. This year is the third year that it's in operation. There will be less than 200,000 riders, just less than 200,000. The ridership never started to grow. In fact, what happened is from the initial, I hate to use buzz of the buzz, but from the initial people really excited about it, almost each and every week we saw a slight diminishing in the number of people that were on the buzz. There would be weeks where it would pick up when there were a lot of things going on in Palm Springs. But what has also happened during the course of these years is we've seen Uber and Lyft and these kinds of ride-sharing programs get so popular. And so the folks that we thought would be leaving their hotel, getting in a buzz, and going downtown and having a good time in our downtown and riding the buzz home, instead walked out the door of their hotel, called Lyft or Uber, took that to wherever they were going, then to the next stop, and then on to home or back to their hotel. We had some shopkeepers on Palm Canyon that thought the buzz was working well for them. But when I asked the hoteliers, does it make a difference to you? They said very little. Then I asked the other big question of the hoteliers, are you willing to provide any subsidies so we can keep this program going, since primarily the stops are for people who are staying at the hotels? And they said no. And what you're willing to pay for is what you really value. And there just wasn't that. So for people who live right along the route, they're losing an amenity that I know a number of them enjoyed, but we just couldn't justify spending another $1 million for that. You know, one of the last things about the buzz, and I bring this up because I spent all of my life in government working for the state of California. And one of the hardest things in government to do is to admit something is a really good idea, it just didn't work. Because what tends to happen is we have this great idea, we try it, it doesn't play out, and then somebody sits in a conference room and comes up with all of the reasons why it didn't work, because we didn't explain it properly, or we didn't market it properly, or we didn't do this right, or we didn't do that right. And 10 years later, you're still trying to fix something that you should have just simply said, it sounded good when we thought about it, but it didn't work. And so I'm pleased that after 3 years of experimenting, we said, it's not working, let's move on. We are getting lots of compliments on the new downtown. I think it's looking really good in spite of all of the controversy and things that have been associated with downtown. We're seeing people come in and like it. I got, in the last month, 4 members of city councils in other cities who had been visiting Palm Springs and then came up to me later at meetings and said, I really like your new downtown. And I consider those compliments from what I call the competition to be something that really makes a difference for us. Modernism Week had 136,000 tickets sold. We had visitors from 50 states, and I've lost track of how many different countries came to the city. I was talking to one of the hoteliers who runs one of the medium-priced hotels in Palm Springs, and he said, He's been operating at better than 95% capacity since October, and his rates are 23% higher this year than they were last year. So this is really helping. Palm Springs is hot again, and in more ways than one. So we're just pleased with where that's going. There's an event coming up this Saturday that I want to remind everyone of. 1 PS, the Organized Neighborhoods of Palm Springs holds their annual picnic at Ruth Hardy Park. It's from 11 to 2. In addition to the picnic, there will be exhibits and booths from all kinds of different local businesses and nonprofit organizations. It is great fun. There's no charge for attending, and if you live in Palm Springs, your lunch is free. So, and we have food trucks that we'll be bringing out for it, and it's just a lot of fun. There will be hot air balloons that you can ride, and one of my favorite events is the dog costume contest. So you can dress up your puppy in whatever garb he or she is willing to accept, and they will be judging the dog costumes. What we're looking at on the east side of Palm Canyon is preservation of the Town and Country Hotel and restoration of Town and Country. And I sat through a meeting yesterday afternoon on trying to restore that. We are looking at the businesses there. There are no plans, and I will not vote for any plans to demolish those buildings. We want to restore what is there. Some of it's looking a little tired in comparison to what you now see across the street. The Agua Caliente tribe was responsible for the food truck mashup, and they did that as a part of their entertainment district. It is, I think, going to be an annual event for them, but they're not permanent food trucks that will be there in Palm Springs. I'll tell you some of the things that we're doing when it comes to the homeless population. And there's a little less than 200 here in Palm Springs, but the Well in the Desert has a day facility where people can go into it and pick up packaged food, water, get out of the heat, get out of the rain and the cold. That has largely been working. There have been some incidents in the general area of problematic behavior around there, but I think it has been a positive to have folks there. We are working with Coachella Valley Association of Governments and have signed a contract with Pathways Ministries, and this is the secular arm of Pathways Ministry, and they are going to be operating not large homeless shelters, but what they are doing is renting apartments, renting homes, and taking existing housing stock and then using that to help get individuals off the street and into those homes. In a lot of cities that have successfully dealt with their homeless population, it's not building large new homeless shelters, it's getting people back into existing housing stock and interviewing people properly so that you vet the right person into the right home and they have a chance for success. And I see I'm out of time.
Thank you so much.
For more, go to KIWANISPalmSprings.org.